Ever wished you could kind of peek behind the curtain at a company that's not just, successful, but also really trying to make a difference in the world?
Hmm.
Well, today we're going to do just that with a deep dive into PI Industries Limited.
Okay.
They're a real leader in the Indian agrisciences scene.
Yeah, and it's not even just India. PI Industries is playing a pretty big role in global food security
Right.
and environmental sustainability, too.
Wow.
What I think is super fascinating is how they're weaving those goals into, like, literally every single aspect of their business.
So we've got their 2023-2024 integrated annual report to guide us through this.
Okay.
And let me tell you, this thing is jam-packed. We're talking financials, sustainability efforts, corporate governance. We're covering it all.
Whoa, the whole shebang.
You got it. So get ready to unpack some serious knowledge about PI Industries.
Absolutely. By the end of this deep dive, you'll have a really good grasp of their unique approach to business. It's pretty interesting.
Okay, great.
Think of PI Industries as like a knowledge powerhouse.
Okay.
They're dedicated to advancing the science behind agricultural products.
So they're not just like producing, they're actually innovating.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That's interesting.
And their expertise spans the entire life sciences value chain, too, from like custom synthesis and large-scale manufacturing all the way to co-marketing and distribution.
Wow. So they're involved in like every stage of the process.
Yeah, it's impressive to see a company, especially an Asian company, so deeply involved in every single stage, from, the initial research all the way to getting the product into the hands of farmers.
Okay.
And they emphasize a really collaborative approach, too.
Oh, interesting.
They recognize that achieving their goals requires partnerships and engaging with the community.
Makes sense. You can't do it alone.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about their financial performance because these numbers are pretty amazing.
Okay.
A 30% CZGR, which stands for Compound Annual Growth Rate, in EBITDA.
Wow.
And for anyone who doesn't know, EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Right.
So basically, it shows their core profitability.
And it's a 30% growth year over year, too.
Wow, that is incredible.
That, combined with a 39% CAGR in PAT, their profit after tax,
Okay,
and a 35% CAGR in both net worth and earnings per share for this fiscal year, 2023-2024.
okay.
It's a pretty clear indicator that their strategy is working.
Yeah, those are some serious gains.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean for investors?
Well, their return on capital employed, or ROCE, is at a solid 35%.
Okay.
That means for every dollar they invest, they're getting 35 cents back, which is a pretty great return.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
And their return on equity, ROE, is growing too, hitting 22%. This means they're effectively using shareholder investments to generate profits.
And speaking of shareholders, over the past 5 years, PI Industries has delivered a whopping 279% return to those who invested in the company, with a CGR of over 23%.
Wow.
No wonder people are excited about PI Industries.
Yeah, it's a compelling case for their business model.
Yeah.
But I think what's equally impressive is that this financial success isn't coming at the expense of, sustainability.
Right.
They're not just chasing profits, they're aiming for responsible growth.
And they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. I mean, they've earned some serious recognition for all their sustainability efforts.
They've been featured in the S&P Global Sustainability Yearbook 2024,
Okay.
and they received a gold medal from EcoVadis for their sustainability performance.
Oh, wow.
It's a real testament to their commitment to environmental, social, and governance principles, what we often call ESG.
And they even won the Global CSR Excellence and Leadership Award.
Really?
Yeah. What really impressed me was their project to help millet and cotton farmers adopt more sustainable farming practices.
Interesting.
That project actually earned them that prestigious award.
It's not just about their bottom line. It's clear they're thinking about the entire agricultural ecosystem.
Sure.
Their approach is multifaceted. They're actively managing their environmental footprint in so many different ways. They're reducing water consumption, managing waste responsibly, and they've even got a rooftop solar plant at their Udaipur facility.
I love that they're using renewable energy. It's great to see them putting their money where their mouth is on that front.
Absolutely. They're also making a real difference in people's lives.
Oh, how so?
Well, with initiatives like skill development training for women and youth,
Okay.
and healthcare programs like their mobile health units that have helped over 89,000 people.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And on top of all that, they're deeply committed to creating a safe working environment.
Right.
They've earned ISO 45001 certifications for their manufacturing facilities. And get this, They were even recognized as one of the top 25 safest workplaces in India.
It's clear that they truly value their employees' well-being,
Yeah,
which is a hallmark of a truly sustainable company.
for sure. Okay, let's switch gears a little and talk about their corporate governance and risk management practices.
Okay, sounds good.
PI Industries seems to have a really solid structure in place.
Yeah, their board is super diverse.
Oh, really?
It's got a great mix of executive, non-executive, and independent directors. 44.44% are independent, and 22.22% are women, which is great to see.
That's fantastic.
And they have all these different committees overseeing everything, from risk management and stakeholder relationships to even things like mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, so it's a very comprehensive system.
Yeah, very.
Okay.
It's designed to ensure accountability and transparency. And they're not just thinking about the present either. They're very aware of the challenges of climate change.
Right.
And they're taking steps to mitigate both physical and transition risks.
That's smart. Companies that ignore climate change are, setting themselves up for problems down the line.
Exactly.
So what specifically are they doing to address these risks?
Well, they've identified a range of potential climate risks, from physical ones like, extreme weather events and water scarcity,
Right.
to
Well,
transition risks, those associated with policy changes and the shift to decarbonization. They're taking a very proactive approach to adapting and preparing for these changes.
so they're not just waiting to see what happens. They're actively planning for a future that's, likely to be very different from the present.
Right.
That forward-thinking mindset is also evident in their approach to innovation and growth.
Yes.
They're investing a lot in research and development, or R&D as it's often called.
And they're not just throwing money at it either. They're being very strategic.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, they're focusing on developing new technologies and building blocks for future growth.
Interesting.
In fact, they have a pretty robust pipeline of over 20 products under registration and development right now.
That's impressive. It shows they're not content to rest on their laurels. They're always looking for ways to, innovate and expand. Okay, I want to dive a bit deeper into some of their specific initiatives. I'm particularly interested in their approach to waste and water management. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. They've actually implemented some really cool solutions in this area. For instance, they've adopted a moving bed biological reactor,
Yeah.
which is a technology that allows them to recycle 35% of their water.
That's amazing.
And they're using online effluent treatment analysis, too, to significantly decrease their waste output.
It sounds like they're really embracing, circularity principles,
Yeah.
aiming to reduce their environmental impact by keeping resources in use for as long as possible.
Exactly. Minimizing their footprint. These technologies are a key part of that. They're also focused on enhancing the eco-scale rating of their products. Over 60% are currently classified in the green category.
So for those who might not know, the EcoScale rating measures a product's environmental impact
Right.
throughout its entire life cycle, from production to disposal.
Yeah, so a green rating means a product is considered environmentally preferable.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. And it shows that PI Industries is taking responsibility for the entire life cycle of their products,
Exactly.
which is great news for, environmentally conscious consumers.
For sure.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about their R&D efforts.
Yeah.
The report mentions that they've been successful in developing indigenous technology.
Okay.
And that has actually led to, cost reductions.
Wow.
The use of more environmentally friendly synthetic routes, and even, the conservation of foreign exchange.
So it's a win-win-win. They're innovating, saving money, and being environmentally responsible all at the same time.
Exactly.
They've also made significant strides in converting several batch processes into continuous, uninterrupted processes.
Okay.
This not only makes them more efficient, but also further reduces their manufacturing footprint.
It sounds like they're not afraid to, experiment and find new ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of adaptability is going to be essential in the face of future challenges.
Yeah.
Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The report mentions some external factors that could impact PI Industries
Okay.
and the agri-sciences sector as a whole.
Right.
Can you tell us a bit more about the economic and geopolitical context they're operating in?
Sure. They highlight the global economic slowdown as a key challenge,
Makes sense?
rising inflation as well,
Okay.
and the ongoing geopolitical tensions stemming from the Russia-Ukraine war.
Right.
These factors, they create a lot of uncertainty in the global market and can disrupt supply chains.
That makes sense. In a globalized world, Companies are so interconnected.
Yeah.
Events in one part of the world can ripple out and affect businesses everywhere.
Precisely. And for a company like PI Industries that operates in multiple countries, understanding these global dynamics is crucial.
Yeah, for sure.
However, the report also points to some positive trends in the Indian economy, like strong domestic demand and government initiatives aimed at boosting agricultural production.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
So it seems like there are both, headwinds and tailwinds for PI Industries to navigate.
That's the nature of business, especially in a world that's as dynamic and interconnected as ours.
Right.
But PI Industry seems well equipped to adapt to these changing circumstances. Their focus on innovation, sustainability, and strong governance positions them well for the future.
Okay, great. Now let's dive into another critical aspect of their operations. Their approach to managing risk, particularly in a world facing, increasing cybersecurity threats.
Yeah, they seem to have a very robust cybersecurity framework in place, which is absolutely essential these days.
Okay.
They follow a three-pronged approach that focuses on people, processes, and technology.
That sounds like a pretty holistic strategy. Can you elaborate a little bit on what each of those prongs entails?
Sure. Their people focus includes raising cybersecurity awareness among their employees.
Okay.
They do this through regular training sessions, awareness posters, and they even have these phishing simulation campaigns. This helps ensure that everyone in the organization understands how important cybersecurity is
Right.
and what their role is in protecting company data.
It's like that old saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Educating employees is key to building a strong cybersecurity culture.
Exactly. They've also developed really robust processes, many of which are governed by the ISO 27001 standard for information security management systems.
Okay.
This includes things like conducting regular risk assessments, having a very clear incident response plan, and ensuring they have data backup and recovery procedures in place.
So it's reassuring to know that they're not just relying on, ad hoc measures. They have a very systematic approach to managing cyber risks.
Yeah. And on the technology front, they've invested in the right tools and technologies to protect their systems and data.
Okay.
This includes things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and data encryption. They even have a Security Operations Center, or SOC, that monitors their network 24/7 for any suspicious activity.
So they're taking this layered approach to cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Combining, human vigilance with technological safeguards.
Yeah.
But it's not just about protecting their own systems, right?
Right.
They're also extending their cybersecurity efforts to their supply chain.
That's a really critical point because a company's cybersecurity is only as strong as the weakest link in its supply chain.
Yeah, that's true.
They've recognized this and implemented a supplier screening and assessment process that actually includes cybersecurity considerations.
So they're not just trusting that their suppliers have, adequate security measures in place.
Yep.
They're actively verifying it.
Exactly.
What kind of factors do they consider when they're assessing supplier cybersecurity?
Well, they look at a whole range of factors,
Okay.
including the supplier's cybersecurity policies and procedures, their security certifications, any history of security incidents, and their overall approach to risk management.
Okay.
They also consider the type of data the supplier will be handling and the potential impact of a breach.
So it's a pretty comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
Designed to make sure that their cybersecurity efforts go way beyond just their own, internal systems. This proactive approach to supplier cybersecurity is honestly a best practice that more companies should adopt.
Definitely.
Now, shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about intellectual property.
Yeah.
PI Industries is clearly an innovation-driven company, so protecting their intellectual property is, paramount.
Absolutely. They've developed a robust system for safeguarding all of their intellectual capital. It all starts with really thorough prior art searches to identify, proprietary IP.
Okay.
Then they prioritize filing patents and diligently prosecuting them to secure grants.
That's a really smart strategy. In a competitive market, patents can give a company a significant advantage.
Oh, for sure.
But it's not just about obtaining patents, right?
Right. They also make sure that they fulfill all of their maintenance fee obligations once a patent is granted, so that ensures ongoing protection.
Oh, okay.
And they're keeping a close eye on their competitor activities in all the relevant domains, providing stakeholders with weekly updates on the latest developments.
Sounds like they have a dedicated team that's just always on top of intellectual property matters.
Yeah.
That kind of vigilance is essential for staying ahead in such a fast-paced industry.
It's a key part of their overall strategy for growth and innovation. They understand that their intellectual property is a super valuable asset that needs to be carefully protected.
But it's not just about patents, it's also about building a culture of innovation within the company, right?
Right.
So how do they foster that culture?
Well, they invest heavily in research and development, as we've already discussed, but they also actively encourage their employees to be creative, think outside the box.
Okay.
For instance, they have a Being Creative workshop that helps cultivate an environment of, constructive debate and innovation within their R&D department.
That's great. That's a really great way to stimulate new ideas and encourage collaboration. It sounds like they're creating a space where people feel comfortable, sharing their thoughts and challenging the status quo.
Exactly. And they understand that innovation isn't just about coming up with, brand new products.
Right.
It's also about finding new and better ways of doing things, which is why they've invested in developing that indigenous technology we talked about earlier.
Right.
The one that led to cost reductions, environmentally friendly synthetic routes, and even the conservation of foreign exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive to see how they're weaving these sustainability principles into their innovation efforts. They're not just innovating for the sake of it,
Yeah.
They're innovating for a better future.
That's a key takeaway here. Their approach to innovation is completely aligned with their broader commitment to sustainability and, responsible growth.
They're proving that it's possible to be both profitable and purpose-driven, which is, a model that more companies should aspire to.
Absolutely. And it's not just about environmental sustainability. They're also committed to social responsibility.
Right.
For example, they've implemented a human rights due diligence process throughout their operations and supply chain, aligning with guidelines from organizations like the OECD, the UN Global Compact, and the ILO.
That's a pretty strong statement. It shows they're taking human rights seriously.
Yeah.
And are committed to operating ethically.
And it goes beyond just, policies on paper.
Okay.
They really prioritize employee education on human rights with, regular discussions, online modules, and training sessions led by HR and functional teams.
So they want to make sure that all their employees understand these concepts.
Yeah, they want to ensure that all employees understand their rights and are familiar with the company's code of conduct and human rights commitment policy.
It's great to see a company that's not just paying lip service to human rights, but is actually working to, embed these principles into their corporate culture, and their efforts extend to their supply chain as well.
Yeah.
They've incorporated human rights considerations into their supplier screening and assessment process, which is something we talked about earlier in the context of cybersecurity.
All right.
It's a comprehensive approach that recognizes the interconnectedness of business operations and, the importance of ethical conduct at every level.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding negative impacts either.
Okay.
They're also actively working to create a positive social impact through their various initiatives, like those skill development programs for women and youth, and the healthcare programs that are reaching thousands of people.
It's clear that social responsibility is really woven into the fabric of PI Industries operations.
Yeah.
It's not just a separate department or a box to tick.
Right.
It's an integral part of their business strategy.
It's a key differentiator for them. They're showing that it's possible to be both profitable and a force for good in the world. It's an inspiring example.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's talk about another really important aspect of their commitment to social responsibility. Their focus on employee well-being and development.
They really do seem to have a strong belief in investing in their employees. They offer a whole range of programs and benefits designed to support, employee growth and development, as well as their overall well-being.
It's a smart strategy. In today's job market, which is so competitive, companies need to offer more than just a paycheck to attract and retain top talent.
For sure. And they provide opportunities for, skill upgrading through all sorts of different programs, like leadership and coaching training, digital learning initiatives, and skill upgrade programs specifically designed to help employees advance their careers.
It's great to see a company that's committed to helping its employees develop their skills and advance their careers. It not only benefits the employees, but also the company as a whole.
Absolutely. They've implemented a really robust performance and career development review process, too. In fact, 98% of their employees participate in these reviews.
Wow, that's a really high percentage.
Yeah, it really demonstrates a high level of engagement from both employees and managers.
It suggests a culture of open communication and feedback.
Mm-hmm.
which is so essential for employee growth and development.
Definitely. And they don't just focus on professional development either.
Oh, okay.
They also prioritize employee well-being.
Right.
They offer a really comprehensive benefits package that includes healthcare, disability, and invalidity coverage, parental leave, and retirement provisions.
That's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
refreshing to see a company that recognizes the importance of work-life balance
Yeah.
and provides support for, employees' personal lives as well.
It's all about creating a positive and supportive work environment. And
Yeah.
it seems to be paying off. They actually have a really high level of employee satisfaction, like a 95% satisfaction rate,
Yeah.
based on their latest survey.
That's really a testament to their commitment to creating a great place to work.
Yeah.
Now let's dive a little deeper into their employee development programs. You mentioned a few earlier. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, they have some really cool programs in place. Like they have a management development program.
Okay.
It's in partnership with IIM Udaipur.
I am Udaipur.
Yeah, it's one of India's top business schools.
Wow. Okay.
This program equips, emerging leaders with valuable insights into things like corporate strategy and management.
It's a great way to prepare future leaders for the challenges that they're going to face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really smart to partner with such a reputable institution like that.
They also have what they call the UDHAV program.
Okay.
It's this holistic leadership development program that's designed for senior managers. This program focuses on things like identifying strengths, functional and behavioral development needs, and strengthening the leadership pipeline.
So it sounds like they're taking this very systematic approach
Mm.
to leadership development.
Yeah.
Making sure they have a strong pipeline of talent ready to take on leadership roles.
Exactly. And they don't just focus on the, top levels of management.
Right.
They have programs for employees at every level.
Oh, that's great.
Like, remember the Being Creative workshop and the Emotional Intelligence workshop that we talked about before?
Right.
Yeah. So it's really great to see a company that invests in the development of its entire workforce,
Yeah.
not just, a select few. It creates a really great culture of learning and growth.
It benefits everyone. And their investment in employee development is clearly paying off. Their human capital return on investment, HCROI, has been consistently greater than 3.
Wow.
And they've maintained that even as their workforce has grown.
It's a strong indicator that their employee development programs are having a really positive impact on the bottom line. It shows that investing in employees is not just the right thing to do, it's also good business.
It's a win-win situation. Now, let's talk about their talent attraction strategies. How are they attracting the best and brightest to join their team?
Well, they seem to have a pretty multi-pronged approach to attracting talent.
Okay.
Of course, they offer competitive salaries and benefits,
Right.
but they also have some really innovative programs in place. Like their Anuhav initiative is pretty noteworthy.
Anubhav initiative.
Yeah, in the fiscal year 2023-2024, they recruited 16 management trainees, or MTs, from top institutions like SPJ IMR, IM Kozhikode, MDR Gurgaon, and IM Mumbai, with 25% being women.
Okay.
These MTs embark on a year-long rotational program that's designed to give them a broad exposure to all the different aspects of the business.
That's a great way to attract, top talent from these leading institutions
Yeah.
and give them a really well-rounded experience.
Yeah.
And it also helps build their leadership pipeline from within.
Exactly. And their focus on diversity is also evident in that 25% female representation. They also have a board diversity policy in place to promote diversity at the highest levels of the company.
It's encouraging to see a company that's taking concrete steps to promote diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
It's not just about ticking boxes. It's about creating a more equitable and representative workplace.
Right. And it's not just about attracting talent either. It's about retaining it too.
Right.
So they have a range of programs and benefits designed to support employee well-being and create a positive work environment,
Yeah.
which are key factors in, employee retention.
It's a smart strategy because employees are way more likely to stay with a company that values their contributions and supports their growth and development. What else are they doing to keep their employees engaged and, happy?
Well, they've implemented a number of initiatives to foster employee engagement,
Oh, yeah.
like employee recognition programs, team building activities, and those opportunities for professional development that we talked about earlier. They also conduct these regular employee satisfaction surveys to get feedback and identify, areas for improvement.
So it sounds like they're creating this culture of
Mhm.
open communication and feedback,
Yeah.
which is so essential for employee engagement and retention.
They understand that their employees are their most valuable asset,
Yeah.
and they're committed to creating a workplace where they can thrive.
It's a model that more companies should try to emulate.
I think so, too.
Now, let's talk about another key aspect of PI Industries' success. Their customer engagement strategies.
Okay.
How do they connect with their customers and build those, strong relationships?
Well, they have a really comprehensive approach to customer engagement. It includes both traditional and digital channels.
Okay.
For instance, they maintain a very strong network of over 15,000 channel partners, and they manage like 25 unique stock points for PIL and 22 for Jivagro.
That's an extensive network.
Yeah.
It ensures that their products are readily available to customers across the country.
Mm.
But their reach goes way beyond just India, right?
Oh, yeah. Way beyond. They have a global presence, actually,
Wow.
with products available across 6 continents and in nearly 38 countries.
That's incredible how they manage that.
Well, it's facilitated by these strategically located global offices.
It's impressive to see an Indian company competing on such a global scale.
Yeah.
What kind of customer engagement strategies do they use in these international markets?
Well, they tailor their approach to each specific market,
Oh.
taking into account, local customs and preferences.
Right.
They use a mix of marketing and distribution channels, including partnerships with local distributors, online platforms, and even direct sales in some cases.
So it's a very flexible approach
Yeah,
that allows them to adapt to all these different market conditions.
exactly.
But it's not just about selling products, right?
No,
It's about building those relationships.
it is.
So how do they go beyond just transactions to create these lasting connections with their customers?
Well, they really prioritize customer service and support.
Okay.
They have a dedicated customer care team that's available to answer questions, resolve issues, and provide technical assistance.
That's essential for building trust and loyalty. Customers are much more likely to do business with a company that they feel values their business and is responsive to their needs.
Right, and they actually go beyond just, traditional customer service.
Okay.
By providing educational resources and training to their customers.
Oh, interesting.
For example, they offer training programs on the safe and effective use of pesticides to farmers.
That's a great way to add value for their customers.
Yeah.
And to build those stronger relationships. It shows they're not just interested in, making a sale.
Mm-hmm.
They're invested in the success of their customers.
Exactly. They also engage with their customers through all sorts of different events and programs, like they host farmer field days where they can showcase their products and provide, technical guidance to farmers.
Okay.
They also participate in industry conferences and trade shows to connect with potential customers and stay up to date on the latest industry trends.
A very proactive approach to customer engagement.
It is.
They're not just waiting for customers to come to them.
Right.
They're actively reaching out and building those relationships.
And it's not just about selling products, it's about building a community.
Oh, wow.
They've created a platform for farmers to connect with each other, share best practices and learn from experts. They also use social media to engage with customers and share info about their products and services.
It's a smart strategy.
Yeah.
In today's world, social media is a powerful tool for building relationships and engaging with those customers.
They're definitely using it well.
Okay. It's clear that PI Industries understands the importance of customer engagement and has developed this really comprehensive strategy to build strong relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's shift our focus to their corporate social responsibility initiatives, or CSR, as it's often called. We touched on this earlier, but can you delve a little deeper into the specific projects they're undertaking, to create that positive social impact?
Sure. They have a number of impactful CSR projects in place. One of their key areas of focus is education and skill development. They have this project called Shiksha Setu, which aims to improve access to quality education for underprivileged children.
That's a crucial area to focus on. Education is the foundation for both individual and societal progress.
Absolutely. They've also launched a skill development program called Hunar, which provides vocational training to youth and women,
Okay.
empowering them with the skills they need to find employment.
It's a great way to address unemployment and create economic opportunities for those marginalized communities.
Exactly. They also have this project called Aroji Setu.
Aroji Setu.
Yeah, it focuses on improving healthcare access in rural areas. They've set up these mobile health units that provide free medical consultations, checkups, and medicines to people in those remote villages.
That's vital, especially in those areas where so many lack access to basic healthcare services.
Right. And it's not just about providing treatment either. They also run awareness campaigns on health and hygiene, promoting healthy practices and trying to prevent the spread of diseases.
So it's like a holistic approach to healthcare,
Yeah.
right? It's not just about treating illnesses, but also preventing them and promoting that overall well-being.
Exactly. Another area of focus for their CSR initiatives is environmental sustainability.
Okay.
They have a project called Hariali, which aims to promote afforestation and conserve biodiversity.
That's crucial for combating climate change and protecting the environment.
Absolutely. They've planted thousands of trees in and around their manufacturing facilities, creating these green belts that help improve air quality and reduce pollution. And they work with local communities, too, to promote those sustainable agricultural practices,
Okay.
like water conservation and organic farming.
It's great to see a company that's taking such a proactive approach to environmental protection, working to create a more sustainable future.
And they have another project called Jal Sanrakshan, which focuses on water conservation.
Okay.
They've actually built rainwater harvesting structures in several villages, ensuring a reliable source of water for both drinking and irrigation.
It's so critical, especially in those areas facing water scarcity.
Right. And they conduct these awareness programs about water conservation, too, educating those communities on the importance of using water responsibly.
It's a really multifaceted approach to CSR, addressing this whole range of social and environmental issues. It's clear that PI Industries is committed to making a real impact on the communities where it operates.
And they're not just, throwing money at these problems. They're actively involved in implementing these projects,
Yeah.
working with the local communities to make sure they're effective. They actually have a dedicated CSR team that oversees these projects
Okay.
and ensures they're aligned with the company's values and sustainability goals.
It's a comprehensive and impactful approach to corporate social responsibility. They're setting a great example for other companies.
Yeah, they really are walking the walk when it comes to making a difference.
Okay, let's zoom back in a little bit and take a closer look at their governance structure. We talked earlier about the diversity of their board and their various board committees.
Right.
Can you elaborate on how these committees contribute to effective governance?
Yeah, of course. They have several key committees that play a really crucial role in ensuring good governance.
Right.
One of the most important is the Audit Committee.
Okay.
This committee is responsible for overseeing the company's financial reporting process, internal control systems, and the audit of the financial statements.
So it provides that independent oversight of the company's financial affairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Ensuring transparency and accountability.
The Audit Committee also reviews the company's risk management policies and procedures,
Okay.
making sure that they're adequate to mitigate key risks.
That's a super important aspect of governance. Companies need to have these robust risk management systems in place to protect themselves from, financial, operational, and reputational risks.
Absolutely. Another key committee is a Nomination and Remuneration Committee. This committee is responsible for identifying and recommending candidates for the board of directors and senior management positions.
That's a really critical function.
Uh-huh.
It ensures that the company has a strong and diverse leadership team
Right.
with the right skills and experience to, guide the company forward.
Right, and it's not just about finding the right people either.
Okay.
This committee also sets the remuneration policies for the board and senior management, making sure that compensation is fair and aligned with performance.
That's important for attracting and retaining that top talent.
Yeah.
But it also needs to be balanced with the interests of the shareholders.
Right. The committee considers all of these factors when making its recommendations. Now, they also have what's called a Stakeholder Relationship Committee,
Okay.
which is responsible for overseeing the company's engagement with, all their various stakeholders. This includes shareholders, employees, customers, suppliers, and the communities where they operate.
That's a crucial aspect of governance. Companies need to have strong relationships with their stakeholders to build trust and ensure their long-term success.
Absolutely. The Stakeholder Relationship Committee reviews the company's stakeholder engagement policies and procedures,
Okay.
making sure that they're effective and aligned with the company's values.
So it's a very proactive approach to stakeholder engagement,
It is.
going beyond just, mere compliance to actually building those meaningful relationships.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. They have a Corporate Social Responsibility Committee, too,
Wow.
which oversees all the company's CSR initiatives, ensuring that they're aligned with the company's sustainability goals and are actually making a positive impact.
It's a sign of a company that takes their social responsibility seriously. and is committed to, making a difference.
They also have this dedicated risk management committee, which is responsible for identifying, assessing, and mitigating any key risks facing the company.
That's essential, especially for a company operating in, such a complex and dynamic industry. What kind of risks does this committee focus on?
Well, they consider a really wide range of risks, including financial risks, operational risks, regulatory risks, reputational risks, and even, cybersecurity risks.
So it's this very comprehensive approach to risk management,
Yeah.
taking into account all the various factors that could impact the company's success.
And they don't just, identify the risks, they actually take action.
Okay.
The Risk Management Committee works with management to develop and implement risk mitigation strategies, ensuring that the company is prepared for those potential challenges.
So it's a very proactive approach,
It is.
aiming to identify and address these risks before they become major problems.
Exactly. And speaking of being proactive, they also have an M&A committee,
M&A, okay.
which is responsible for evaluating potential mergers and acquisitions. Their job is to make sure that any M&A activity aligns with the company's strategic goals and creates value for shareholders.
That's a really important function for a company that's looking to grow and expand its operations.
Definitely. This committee conducts due diligence on potential targets, assesses the risks and opportunities associated with each transaction, and then makes recommendations to the board.
So it's a thorough process.
Yeah, it's designed to make sure the company makes sound investment decisions.
Okay, let's move on to another committee. What about the Compliance Committee?
Ah, yes. This committee is responsible for making sure that the company complies with all applicable laws and regulations.
Essential, obviously.
Yeah.
Maintaining the company's reputation and avoiding those, legal and financial penalties.
Exactly. They review the company's compliance policies and procedures, conduct those regular compliance audits, and investigate any alleged violations.
So it's this comprehensive approach to compliance, ensuring the company operates ethically and responsibly.
And finally, they have an administrative committee,
Okay,
which I know it may sound a bit, mundane,
right.
but it's actually really important. This committee is responsible for overseeing the company's administrative functions, including things like human resources, information technology, and facilities management.
That's an important function. Make sure that the company has the necessary infrastructure and support systems in place
Yeah.
to operate efficiently and effectively.
The administrative committee reviews the company's administrative policies and procedures, making sure they align with best practices, and then makes recommendations for improvement.
Wow. So they really have a committee for everything.
It shows how serious they are about governance.
It does. It really does.
It's clear that they have this very comprehensive approach to governance, ensuring the company is well managed and operating in the best interests of its stakeholders.
Okay, let's delve into another important aspect of PI Industries' operations. Their supply chain management practices. We've touched on this a little bit earlier.
Right.
In terms of sustainability and cybersecurity. But can you tell us more about their overall approach to managing their supply chain?
Sure. They have a very robust supply chain management system. It's designed to ensure that they're delivering high-quality products on time and efficiently,
Okay,
all while adhering to ethical and sustainable practices.
right.
And they actually operate a global supply chain, sourcing raw materials and finished goods from all over the world.
That's got to be a complex undertaking. It requires a lot of, careful planning and coordination to manage a supply chain that spans so many different countries and continents.
Oh, for sure. And to manage this complexity, they've implemented a supplier code of conduct,
Okay.
which outlines their expectations for ethical and sustainable practices from all of their suppliers.
That's an important step. It
Yeah.
sets those clear standards and helps ensure that their entire supply chain is aligned with their values.
Right, and it's not just a document they put on a shelf.
Okay.
The Supplier Code of Conduct covers a range of supercritical issues, including human rights, labor standards, environmental protection, and anti-corruption.
It's a comprehensive code that really reflects their commitment to operating responsibly throughout their supply chain.
And they back that commitment up with action.
Okay, how so?
They have this really thorough supplier onboarding process. It includes a complete assessment of the supplier's capabilities, financial stability, and compliance with that supplier code of conduct.
That's a crucial step. Those are all crucial areas of innovation that have the potential to transform the agri-sciences sector. We've discussed the importance of tackling pesticide resistance, reducing environmental impact, and leveraging precision agriculture. And we've touched on those fascinating new frontiers like biologicals and nanotechnology. It seems like PI Industries is firing on all cylinders when it comes to innovation.
They are. They're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in agriculture, and it's exciting to see their commitment to developing solutions that benefit both farmers and the planet. They're not just innovating for the sake of profit, they're innovating for a more sustainable and equitable future.
I think that's what really stands out to me about PI Industries. They're not just a successful company. They're a company with a purpose.
Their dedication to transparency is also admirable. The report goes into great detail about their operations, the challenges they face, and their aspirations for the future. It feels like they're genuinely inviting stakeholders to understand their approach.
And that proactive approach to stakeholder engagement is something we've seen throughout their operations. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about building trust and fostering collaboration.
Precisely. They're not shying away from difficult conversations, whether it's about managing climate risks, ensuring responsible sourcing, or addressing human rights concerns in their supply chain.
It's refreshing to see a company that's not just focused on presenting a polished image, but is willing to engage in open and honest dialogue about the complexities of operating in a globalized world. And that commitment to transparency extends to their financial reporting as well. Their financials are clearly presented, and they provide a detailed analysis of their performance, including both their successes and the challenges they've faced.
It builds confidence in their ability to manage their finances effectively and create long-term value for their shareholders. They're not just focused on short-term profits, they're building a sustainable business that can thrive for years to come.
It's an impressive model for other companies to follow. So after this deep dive into PI Industries, what's your final verdict?
They're a company to watch not just for their financial success, but for their commitment to making a positive impact on the world. They're leading the way and demonstrating that sustainability and profitability are not mutually exclusive, but can go hand in hand.
It's a powerful message for businesses everywhere. They're proving that you can do well by doing good.
And their story is just beginning. With their focus on innovation, sustainability, and strong governance, they're well positioned for continued success in the years to come.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. Thanks for guiding us through the world of PI Industries.
It was my pleasure. It's always fascinating to explore companies that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in business.
And for you listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a nuanced understanding of PI Industries Limited. As always, we encourage you to explore the source material further and draw your own conclusions.
One thing we didn't touch on directly is the potential impact of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain on the agri-sciences sector. How might PI Industries leverage these technologies to further their mission of sustainable and profitable growth? It's something to ponder as you continue your own deep dive into this fascinating company.
That's a great point. There's always more to learn and explore. Until next time, happy learning.